Hello there, welcome to the YouTube Cookie Club channel for another delicious recipe. This video is designed and made specifically for kids who enjoy baking, and let's face it, who doesn't? So today I'll be doing something fun and colourful because as I look out my window it's a grey miserable day. We need a bit of colour to brighten up our lives. So we're going to be making multicoloured marble cupcakes. So before we go any further, I want you to pause this video because I want you to go and wash your hands. Now I want you to wash them for at least 20 seconds with soap and water, preferably longer, getting right into all the little nooks and crannies, into your nails if you have them. Give them a really good scrub and a good dry, and also get your aprons on, and then come back and we'll get on with baking. Right, so now you're back with your hands washed and your aprons on, let's get going. So we're going to be making basic fairy cakes, which I'm going to then be colouring the batter in different colours. If you've got colours, you can join me in that. Otherwise, you can just make plain fairy cakes. That's absolutely fine. Because it's a plain cake, we're going to be making it the same way we would any cake. The first ingredients are going to be margarine or butter if you prefer, and sugar. And cakes pretty much always start the same way, with margarine and sugar. And basic cakes always have the same amount of ingredients. You have a magic number and it will be the same amount no matter what you're doing. So if you're using 60 grams of butter, it'll be 60 grams of sugar, 60 grams of flour and 60 grams of egg, or thereabouts, with a little bit of flavouring. So I will be putting up at the beginning and the end how many ingredients I used for these particular cupcakes, so that you can follow along, and also the oven temperatures that you will need in case it's not clear when I say it in the video. Okay, so we've got our margarine and our sugar in our bowl. Let's give it a good mix round. Now, for those of you who have done a bit of baking, you will know that this is technically called creaming. And I always think that's because it ends up in a creamy consistency. I assume that's right, but that's what I've always thought. So give it a good mix, and it really doesn't take very long. If your butter is pre-softened or you're using margarine, it really doesn't take very long. But even when it's mixed, still keep going for a little bit, because the softer and creamier it is, the easier it will be to mix in all the other ingredients. Okay, so there we go. Right, now I'm going to be adding the egg. So you can either use 1 or 2 eggs for this quantity. I'm going to be using 2 eggs today, and I'm going to crack it into a separate bowl first. Now the reason I do this is so that if any shell gets into my bowl, it's much easier to fish the shell out using one of your eggshells than it is if you put it straight into your cake mix. So here we go. It's the second egg. Oh, lovely. No bits in there. Don't worry about getting a little bit of egg on your fingers. It won't hurt you. You could wipe it on your apron or on a handy tea towel, but it won't do you any harm. So let's add 1 egg first and give that a good mix up. Now it will start to look initially a little bit curdled, like sick, but don't worry about that. It certainly won't taste like it. And if you carry on mixing, especially if you can do it nice and quickly and strong, it will soon start to emulsify like this and will look creamy and delicious. Now then, you can just, as I said, use 1 egg for this mix, and that will be absolutely fine. I'm going to be using 2 eggs, however, so the chances of it curdling after I use my second egg are quite high. So what you can do is you can intersperse adding your egg with adding a spoonful of your self-raising flour. So I'm going to add the other egg now, and that will stop the curdling process. As I say, it doesn't matter if it curdles, so long as it doesn't stay like that for too long. It really doesn't make any difference. Let's give it a good mix. You'll need to mix it for about a minute. Let's get lots of lovely air into your cake. There we are. Okay, so that hasn't curdled, so that's great. So I'm going to be adding my ½ teaspoon of vanilla extract now, because these are just plain vanilla cakes. If you wanted to add a little bit of flavouring, lemon or orange or something, now would be the time to do that instead of the vanilla. So let's give that a mix in. It's easier to mix it in now before you add the flour to fully incorporate it. Okay, and then I'm going to be adding the flour. Tip that in. And now I'm going to be folding it gently. Okay, all that lovely air you've got into your batter, the idea is that you don't knock it out. And it also gives your arm a rest from all that beating. So fold it in, go round your bowl, up and over, round your bowl, up and over, and that's folding. Keep doing that until the flour is all mixed in, and give it a gentle stir. There we go. That's looking great. Okay, now then, that's all the ingredients. That's it. It's very, very simple. And what we're going to be doing now, so if you don't have any food colouring or you don't want to add colouring, that's it basically. You just put it straight into your cupcake cases. I'm going to be adding some colouring, so what I need to do is I need to separate this mix, and I'm going to be using 4 colours, so I'm going to separate it equally into 4 separate bowls. So what I will do is weigh this mix up, and I will tell you on the ingredients list for these ingredients exactly how much should be in each bowl. I haven't done that yet, but I will tell you. By the time I upload this video, I will know. Okay, so I'm going to separate it into bowls, and then we'll get to colouring them. Right, so I have measured out my separate bowls of batter, which was about 90 grams in each bowl for the quantities that I did. Again, that information will be at the beginning and the end of the video. Now I'm going to put in 4 different colours. Now I'm using these lovely gel food colours, and I'm going to be using a pink, a yellow, a blue, and a purple for this. Of course, you can use any colour you like. Chances are you won't have access to all these different things, so you might just have access to one colour. Great. You can use plain batter for one, and then just do pink if that's the colour you've got as the other colour. Okay, so let's get these in. I'm going to be using teaspoons for getting out the colour and mixing it in my bowl. What I'm going to be doing is putting the end of the teaspoon in, and that comes out with a lot of lovely gel colour on it. And then I'm going to be mixing it in using the end of that teaspoon. Okay, so here we are. So this is purple, and it's come out a lovely, deep, beautiful purple. Give it a good mix in. You don't want to have lots of plain batter as well. You want to have it all mixed in. So there we go. And as I said, I'm going to be doing 4 colours because I've got lots of gel colours, so I can. So I've used purple. I've also done a pink, a blue, and a yellow, which is tricky to see because it's in a yellow bowl. Right, and then I'm going to be adding them to my cupcakes. So I have a cupcake tray here, and I have put in 6 plain white cupcake cases. Use it any colour you like, whatever you've got. This is the colour I have at the moment. And then I'm going to be putting dollops of this mixture into my bowl. And I'm going to be, of course, using different spoons for my different colours so that they don't get all mixed up. If you don't have lots of teaspoons, you can take these out, wash them up and use those, of course. I've got lots of teaspoons here. So I'm going to be putting a dollop of one colour in all of the cases. There we go. There we are. And I will use up all of the mixture. I won't leave any behind, because I'd rather have it in my tummy than in my dishwasher, that's for sure. Okay, so that's one colour. Then I'll take the next colour. Let's take this spoon out before we start. Next colour in, spoonful. As you can see, it's about a spoonful in each case if you're doing 6 cases. These are nice deep cupcake cases. Fairy cake cases will be smaller, so you would put less in, of course. Scrape it all out. And then just chop up any that look a little less to use up the rest of your mix. There we go. And keep going until you've done all 4 colours if you're using 4. This is colour 3 that I'm adding. And this is colour 4. There we go. Of course, you can do this instead of doing it with cupcakes. You could make a big cake and you could swirl the different colours around. Maybe put one colour in the middle and then do circles of different colours. And then if you want to, of course, you can do a marbling effect. So you can just leave it like this. This is already quite a marbled effect. Or you could just drag your spoon through and that will create a marbled effect in your finished cupcake. Okay, so there's my 6 cupcakes, nice and full. They are going to rise up over because I've used a self-raising flour. So they're going to be nice and full and delicious. So I'm going to go put these in the oven at approximately 170 degrees for a fan oven, 190 degrees for a convection oven. And they should take, if you're doing fairy cakes, it will be about 15 minutes. If you're doing bigger cupcakes like these, it'll take about 20. If you're doing them in a muffin size, probably about 25. And for a full-sized cake, you're looking at more like between 30 and 40 minutes. But what I will do is I will check them 5 minutes before the end of baking with a skewer. When I take out the skewer, if it's all messy, then I put it back in for another couple of minutes. If it comes out clean, then they're ready. You don't want to over bake them because it will discolour them quite a lot on the top. Okay, so I'm going to go off and do that, and then I will be back once they are baked. Thank you very much. Right, welcome back. So I have now baked my cakes in the oven for 20 minutes. These took. I checked them after 15. Weren't quite ready, so I popped them back in again, and after 20 minutes they were ready. And by checking they were ready, I took a skewer and poked it into a cake, took it out, and it's clean. That's how I knew. Okay, so I'm going to take these out of here so that they can cool down before we ice them. Now, of course, we don't have to ice them. These look lovely just as they are, and there are different ways of icing them. If you haven't got much time and you can get hold of squirty cream, then once they're cooled down, you can do a swirl of squirty cream on the top and maybe some sprinkles or a chocolate flake or whatever it is that you fancy putting on top. However, I'm going to be making some butter icing, which I'm going to be putting on top of these little beauties, and I will show you how to do that. So, first of all, you need to measure out some butter and get it slightly softened and And to soften butter, you just leave it on the side for a few hours. So if you know you're going to be baking the next day, if you leave your butter out overnight or get it out in the morning for a couple of hours before you're going to be baking, you can do so. And then I'm going to put in my icing sugar. The quantities again should have been at the front and the end of the video. So I'm going to put in half the amount of icing sugar that I need, so that when I'm mixing it up, it doesn't all go everywhere. I'm going to use an electric mixer. However, many of you won't be able to do that. If your parents are able to do that for you, then great. Otherwise, you can do it by hand. It just takes a few minutes longer. You want to beat that butter in. And in order to do that, you want to squish it down against the sides of your bowl. And you keep doing that until it's softened and you've started to incorporate all of the lovely icing sugar. Once you've incorporated all the icing sugar in the bowl, then you can add some more. Then at the very end, we're going to add just a little bit of milk to soften it up even more, so that it's able to be go in a piping bag and it's nice and soft, and we can squeeze it out of the piping bag really easily. So I'm going to whisk this together, and then I'll be back to show you what to do next. Right, so I've mixed this up till it's lovely and creamy. I'd added the second amount of icing sugar and mixed that in too, and it's starting to look like buttercream, but it's still a little bit stiff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some milk and some vanilla extract. Right, so vanilla extract, just need a little spoon. Here we go. There we are, a quarter teaspoon of vanilla extract. And 1 to 2 tablespoons of milk. So I'll add 1 tablespoon of milk. This is just plain semi-skim milk, whatever milk that you use, whether that be oat milk or almond milk or full fat, whatever you have in stock is fine. It's just to loosen it a little so it's smoother to ice your cakes. And as you can see, this is much smoother now. Delicious. Now then, I don't need to add another tablespoon of milk. That is enough. So it's worth adding just 1 tablespoon at a time. Otherwise, you might end up with a runny mix. Okay, now I'm going to colour my icing, of course, but naturally you don't have to. I'm going to colour it with a little bit of pink. But if you're a boy, you may wish to use blue or green or purple, if you think pink's too girly, but I don't think pink's a girly colour. Here we go. So it doesn't take very much of this gel colour to change this whole bowl of buttercream into a beautiful pink frosting. There we go. As you can see, it really doesn't take very much effort to do that. Make sure you scrape around your bowl, because there will be plain coloured mixing around the edges, and then when you add that to your cupcakes, you will end up with plain colour as well as your lovely pink or green or whatever you're using. Give that a good mix. It's quite hard work, I have to say, all this mixing, particularly icing buttercream. That can be quite strenuous work, but it's good exercise, and you need to burn some calories before you then consume them again eating your cupcakes. Right, here we go. So that has incorporated all of our mix. Now then, there are so many different ways to ice, and I am by no means an expert at piping. I'll say that right away. I'd love to go on a course to learn how to do beautiful piped cupcakes, but right now that hasn't happened. But most of you won't be expert pipers either. If you are, excellent. Go ahead and send me your pictures. I would love to see them. Now, the first way you can do this is by taking some of your mix onto a knife and just gently, you'll be able to tell if it's soft enough by how it's spreading now. Gently spread it over the top of your cupcake. If you want to make really, really professional looking cupcakes, what you can do is chop the top off to give you a nice smooth surface before you start icing. And then of course you can just eat the tops whilst you're doing the icing. Yum, yum. However, if you don't want to, if you're quite happy with this sort of bulbed look, and just go around and ice it simply with a knife. I'm going to add a little bit more. Here we go. That's better. There we are. That is looking, whilst not shop bought perfect, that is looking delicious. Now then, I have got lots of sprinkles. You may not have lots of sprinkles at home, but because I run lots of baking classes, I do have lots of sprinkles. So I'm going to be using some sprinkles to decorate my cupcakes. However, instead of sprinkles, you can of course leave it plain. There's already enough sugar in that cupcake. You really don't need any other decoration. But whatever you've got at home, if you've got at home some Maltesers, that would be nice, or some Smarties, a lovely pink Smartie on that would look great. Or if you've got some Jazzles like this, that would look super cute on there as well, especially white chocolate ones. They would look really nice. Whatever it is you have to hand and you fancy doing, and depending on the colour of your cupcake, might depend on what you want to use. I have some unicorn confetti here, which is Dr. Oetker, and it's all different little bits of sugary shapes. I also have it in various colours. I have a blue and I have this silver, gold and white, which is particularly pretty for Christmas time. So what you can do is just take your cupcake, turn it upside down into a little plate of this confetti, and rather than sprinkling it over the top, which can become very messy, you can just do that. Now look at that. Doesn't that look sugary, sweet and delicious? And if it's somebody's birthday at home, you could top that with a lovely birthday candle like so. And how cute does that look? Delicious. Or you can use a piping bag. I'm going to be doing some piping as well. I will set that up and I will be back with you in a moment. So I found my piping bags. I should have had it more organised, but I didn't. But here they are. I found them. As you can see, they're sort of triangular in shape, and they will come with a closed off end that you will then need to snip to the size that you require. Okay, I like to put them in a jar or in a long neck glass. Put the tip in and then fold it over so that I can use both hands for doing the icing part. Otherwise you're trying to hold it and put it in with the other hand, it can get quite messy. So I'm going to use my trusty spatula to get out all this lovely pink icing and put it in straight in to my icing bag. Here we go. So if you don't have any piping nozzles, then you can do this. Very simple, with just the icing bag, or you can use a sandwich bag and just use one corner of it to pierce the hole. So you want to gently squeeze the icing down. It gets vacuum sealed, which means it comes to a point where it won't go any further, and then you need to snip the end. So here we go. I'm just going to snick the end off. And I'm going to pick it up and slowly put it between my finger and thumb, slowly squeeze it down. Make sure you're doing it over an area of the worktop that you don't mind the icing coming out on, because it can make quite a mess. There we go. So turn around the ends and I clip that between my other finger to stop it coming undone and stop the icing squeezing back up and out the other end. So here we go. If you have no icing nozzle at all, you can simply do it like this. You can change the size. You can start quite small, see how you like it, and go bigger and bigger. Here we are. This is the size that I've done. So start in the middle, or start around the edge if you prefer. I start in the middle and just go round and round until you feel you have enough icing on your cake. There we are. And then you might want to add some of your sprinkles. You can be a bit more delicate this time and just sprinkle them on top like this. Or again, if it's nice and stuck to your cake, you can turn it upside down, but sometimes the icing then falls off. So there we go. If you have an icing tip, I'd recommend using a star nozzle like this. And I'll show you what that looks like once you've piped it out. So I filled up another icing bag and I've used a star tip, and the star tip comes out looking like this. And you can do lots of those all over your cake if you like. Start in the middle. So you squidge a bit out and then pull it up and keep going round. As I say, I am not an expert piper. There are lots of people out there that could probably give you a much better demonstration of this. However, it is a good way to learn just by practicing yourself. There we go. So I've gone all the way around the edge. And how cute is that? I've also done another one with a swirl, starting in the middle and going round like I did with the plain. And let's do that again, but with 2 layers. So go round and round and round. There we are. Tighten up the bag and then do another layer. Finishing in the middle with a little point. Again, decorate it then any way you see fit, depending on what you have in stock. So at the end, you should have 6 beautiful cupcakes. Whether you chose to decorate them or not, they will be delicious. Look at those. Now I'm going to cut one open to show you what it would look like inside. Let's take the others out of the way. This could get quite messy. So let's take the wrapper off. Here we go. This is how it looks at the side. Hopefully my camera's picking up the different colours. Take a knife and cut it in half and you can have a look. See what you think. There we are. Look at that. Totally outrageous colours. Beautiful. I hope you've enjoyed this demo on multicoloured cupcakes. I have another couple of demos up on my site and I will be loading more each week. Please join me for some baking fun. Keep an eye out. If you subscribe, then you'll get to see when I next put up a video. Please do that. It's all free right now. As we're all in lockdown, why not? Let's get some videos done. Let's get some people baking, especially you kids, but not just kids. Any adult can do this too. Well, I say any adult. Most of us could do this too. Right. I hope you've had fun today and I will put up the ingredients now for you to see. Goodbye. Good luck. Stay safe. Keep well.